Welcome to coreSTORE and thanks for subscribing to our software. We look forward to working with you. Today I'm going to walk you through how to navigate around coreSTORE and just give you a quick overview of the entire system. coreSTORE is much more than a point of sale system. It literally will help you manage your entire retail operation and even more. We've got customers that are not retailers. We've got some manufacturers and distributors that use coreSTORE for order processing, inventory control, and much more. So let's start this tour. And when you first access coreSTORE, you'll be greeted with this dialog box that lets you start a tour. And basically, we'll walk you through some of the navigation that I'm going to go over here. Some people prefer going at their own pace. Some people may not want to watch a video. So we'll just proceed with this video, and hopefully you don't find it too redundant. So I'll go ahead and close this tour, but the tours are really a great feature in coreSTORE. We are adding more tours, so be on the lookout, and I'll show you how you can access a tour. If I close this window, you'll see in the top, I've got this navigation bar. So you'll see the big question mark. That question mark just says, hey, there's a tour on this screen. Now, you'll see that many other screens you won't see the question mark icon, and that's because we don't have a tour yet. So hopefully you'll start seeing this icon more and more. You'll notice here I've got a bell icon that shows me any notifications. That includes any internal messages that you send in coreSTORE, and it also includes any notifications on internet orders if you are using one of our e-commerce solutions that works with coreSTORE. This is a really important menu at the top right. This is where you can actually access our support. You can give permission to show your screen. You can leave feedback. You can also switch your user and edit your profile. Now, you'll also notice in the right here, I've got what's new, and I've got this blinking beacon. So that's basically telling me that there is some news that I haven't read yet, and I can just click on this, and it will show the actual what we call the what's new with coreSTORE, which is a really valuable tool. We're constantly updating the system. We're constantly enhancing, adding features, and every 2 to 4 weeks, we release an update, and you'll see all of the update information in this window. Now, the nice thing is, as soon as you close this window out, the blinking beacon, blinking beacon, need to say that a few times, but the blinking blue beacon is actually gone. So that's because it recognized that I already clicked it. So now you don't have to worry about it, but you can still access this at any time. Now, this only shows up on this dashboard screen. So this is the main screen. It's the dashboard. And you'll see, since you're new, you'll notice that at the top, we've got some steps for completing your setup for coreSTORE. And typically you want to go through these steps and actually configure your company information, configure your locations, add inventory, update your employees, add your customers, and of course, the final step is completing your first sale. Now, you'll see some other notifications. For example, we have a notification on credit card processing. We can just dismiss this. You can also enable test mode. So if you do want to try entering some transactions, but you don't want those transactions to be saved, you don't want them to affect your inventory, you would enable this test mode. Now, below that, we've got some of our daily statistics, and it will show you how many sales you have. Actually, that's up to date. I think that's lifetime, how many customers, how many total items you have, as well as how many kit items. Now, below that, you'll see a list of shortcuts, and you can literally set up a shortcut for any report. You can also set up other shortcuts based on certain system functions that you want to access faster. You want to access them from the main screen. You can actually put your common tasks here. And below that is just your sales information. Obviously, I'm in a new instance of coreSTORE, so there's no graph that will show here because there's no activity. So that gives you an overview of our dashboard screen. Now, of course, to the left, you have your main menu navigation. And your menu is divided into really the tasks that you're doing. And most of it is pretty self-explanatory. So if you want to do anything in terms of items, your inventory, you'll just hover over this menu if you're using a PC, or just click on it if you're using a tablet. And you'll see all of the different menu options under inventory. Work orders, you can hide any of these modules. If you have a need for tracking work orders, repair orders, if you're a gun store and you've got a gunsmith, that's where your work orders will live. That's where you're managing all of your work orders. We, of course, have our sales, and you can reorder these menus, by the way. So that's done in the company settings. But again, we'll stick to an overview here. So you've got your sales menu where you can enter new sales, manage your customers, manage your invoices, manage your gift cards. You can also pull up your price check screen. Core Clear is our merchant services. If you are signed up with us for merchant services, you'll see this menu. What's nice is you can literally look at your actual transactions, your batches. You can hop in to see the actual Core Clear portal. It's fully integrated, which makes life a lot easier. When I go to transactions, it would show me the actual credit card transaction and the corresponding point of sale transaction. So it's really powerful, and that's one of the advantages of using our merchant services. Of course, we will beat any type of pricing that you have now with your current merchant provider, and we'll be happy to provide you with a free analysis. So that's a little plug there for our merchant services. You wouldn't see this if you're not using CoreClear. Our purchasing module is really powerful. This is where you can optionally enter and process purchase orders, or you can also just receive items. Now, in addition to purchasing and receiving, you can also transfer items between your different locations if you have more than one location. And a location could be a physical location, but you can also set up virtual locations if you need to have your inventory divided, for example, between your back room and your retail floor. So you can actually set up another location. Again, that's another license, but regardless, if you do have a need for that and you do need to track inventory in multiple locations, you can do that. Now, even with one location, you can still track what bin, or we call it location. It's a little confusing, but it's really what bin a particular item lives in, and that has nothing to do with locations. So there's the location of the item in the store, which is like a bin number, but then you have your inventory locations, which typically, again, is your additional stores, your warehouse. Those are all physical locations. The Bound Book module obviously is for our customers that are in the shooting industry, which is we're hyper-focused on the shooting industry and any regulated industries, including CBD, and we're getting into the cigar industry, but we're obviously hyper-focused on the shooting industry. And we have an entire module for the Bound Book, but within that module, you can actually manage all your 4473s, your 3310 alerts. This is where all of that is set up. Our fulfillment module is actually where you can manage your orders that are coming in from the internet if you are using our e-commerce solution. But this is also where you can manage your special orders at the store. So within coreSTORE, you can enter estimates and quotes, and you can actually put in special orders. You can, if someone calls you up and you need to ship an item out, you can enter a shipping address in the sale, and then again, you can use the fulfillment module to actually print shipping labels and manage your orders. You can partially ship orders. So if a customer orders 5 items and 3 of them come in stock, you can ship those out or even have them picked up. But the fulfillment module is mostly used for shipping purposes. and typically any internet orders that are coming in that need to be shipped because they're not coming to the store to pick them up, you can manage that right from your fulfillment screen. You don't need a third party, something like ShipStation or any of those. We work with EasyPost, so you just need to get an account with EasyPost, and it's totally seamless because you can actually put in your EasyPost. They give you what's called an API key. That's just a unique identifier. And once you plug that in, you don't need to go on EasyPost because everything happens right within coreSTORE. Reports, of course, an important module. That's where you'll print any reports that you need to print. Again, you've got shortcuts to some reports, and any report that you want, you can add it as a shortcut here to this section. But we also have an entire reporting module. And then finally, our company. So company is where I'm going to set up not just my overall company settings, but also where I set up my employees, I set up appointments, I can enter messages, internal messages that I want to pass on. And of course, you can also manage your employees, set up their security, and add new employees. You can deactivate employees. So that's all of the company setup, overall company information. So today, I'm just going to walk you through the company settings and location settings, and we'll just give a quick overview because we'll probably do specific videos on some of the company settings. It can get pretty overwhelming when you first look at it, but I just want to show you a couple of quick tips just to get you started. So if you go to company settings, you'll see there's a lot of settings, right? It can get overwhelming. But if you're searching for a specific setting, you can also just type in, let's say I'm looking for something on receipt related, right? So obviously I've got several instances where the word receipt is used, but I can immediately go to my receipt section and then see if this is what I'm looking for. So if I want to change the receipt title, I would just do it here. So the key is to navigate around this, and you won't necessarily see all of these buttons at the top. Some of those are for our support department, so don't be alarmed if you don't see some of those buttons. But generally, the navigation through the company settings is you can search for any word, right? But let's say you want to set up taxes. Okay, I'll look for tax. Well, there's a whole section to set up taxes, right? And you can also jump to any of the sections on the left, right? So I can type in taxes, jump to it, and here's all of my tax setup. And typically, most of the settings are pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes you may be scratching your head. And if you have any question, don't forget, in your instance, you should see a chat icon, and that allows you to chat directly with our team. So I don't have it here because I'm, again, logged in as the support user, but when you log in as your user, the one icon that I'm not showing here will show up at the top. It's a typical icon for chat, and absolutely hit us up, ask us any questions that you have. So that's how you navigate the company settings. Again, I just want to give a quick overview to get you started. You definitely don't have to go through every single section, and we'll try to highlight the important ones. But obviously, company information, and you should look at your company, some of the company setup. But really, company information is probably one of the most important things. Taxes, of course, you want to make sure you set up your taxes. It's good to go through the receipt section. And we'll definitely do some more videos on the actual settings within coreSTORE. So I want to go back to the dashboard and real briefly talk about reporting because this is in general any report that you go print. So here's today's daily sales report. Again, you won't actually see any data in this report since this is a new instance. But I wanted to point out a few things. So when you go to print a report, it's not obvious. If you're going directly from the dashboard, remember that you can modify the report options by just clicking that button. Also remember that you can export any report to Excel by simply clicking that export option. And then you have your other options for the reports. You've got your date ranges and anything else that you can choose related to this particular report will be under the report options. So always keep that in mind. It's real easy to print the report. You just hit submit, and that report will then get printed. In this case, I exported to Excel, so I won't see the report on the screen. If I say no to the Excel export and hit submit, you'll immediately see the actual report show up on the screen, and you can hit print to print it out. Excuse me. You can also add this report to your favorites by just clicking this button. So basically what that does is it will actually add the report to the dashboard. Now, one other little tip that may not be obvious, most of the reports, or many of the reports, you can actually choose what columns to show on the report. And this is really useful. If you only need a couple of columns and you need it outputted to Excel, just click this little gear icon and choose whatever columns that you need on the report, and then you can export it, and only those columns will get exported. Same thing, only those columns will get printed. So that's just a brief overview of reports. And again, be on the lookout for this question mark in case you need a guided tour. Make sure to visit our knowledge base by going to our support and documentation. And of course, we're always there to answer your questions. Sometimes it takes us a little while because we've got a lot of customers and a limited number of support staff, but as we grow, we're adding more staff, and hopefully we can get you answers very quickly. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the next video.